snap the bolt. Good morning and welcome to the channel, Twigs T4. I'm Matt, the owner of Twigs T4, and this is an engine rebuild. So this is the VW T4 2.5 TDI ACV engine, the 5-cylinder. So we're going to be rebuilding that today. And what we have, if I just turn you around, sorry. We've got all this is going to go in today. I've got the crank to go in as well. So when the crank goes in, we've got a standard set, standard size of main bearings. Also got some new thrust washers. And then once we get the pistons in for the big ends, because obviously if you haven't already seen the last episode, I done the piston rings and installed them, gapped them and all that kind of stuff. Although the gaps were fine, but you still need to check them. And so we have oversized bearings, 0.25, and that's because the crank was really scored and we had to have that ground down on 4 and 5. Hence why I've replaced piston and comrod 4 and 5. They're out of my other block. So yeah, we've got the oil pump as well. That's all been reconditioned. I think that was the episode beforehand. So I will leave links down below for those two jobs. Also got some crank shields there to go on. Some other, I don't know what's in there. Oh, there, that's for the oil cooler. So we've got them to go on. The new gasket, obviously, for the oil pickup pump. New sump gasket, and a bit of lube, because everyone loves some lube. Right, while I wait for Harry to arrive, I want to get these oil jets fitted. All of this has been cleaned, but before it goes back in, I will give it another clean down. Blow over with brake cleaner, air compressor. There's the tag still on there from the machine shop. The main bearings are standard, the big ends are minus 25, so they've taken off 0.25 mil. Actually, speaking of which, let's have a quick look. So it was the big ends that they had to grind down, that one there. The mains are fine, but again, ooh, lovely and shiny now. So well, also apparently my cousin's on his way down and he wants me to do some welding for him. He's got to do some welding on his neighbour's bike and on his new van that he's just picked up. Well, new second-hand van, but yeah, he's a little bit welding doing. So we'll have a look at that maybe if we get time. It's a busy day. Right, so I've got those oil jets in there now. Happy days. There's no specifications in the Haynes manual for the torque for them. It just says fasten them securely. So what I have done is I've put a tiny little drop of Loctite on each one and then just nipped them up. I haven't gone stupidly tight on them, but yeah, that's them secured. Right, so I'm just going to give it a quick blow down with the brake cleaner and then we'll put the bearings on. I'm trying to take my time. Well, I want to get it all done, but I'm also taking my time because I want Harry here to record. So yeah, because it's just a nightmare setting up a camera, and it's just hassle at the moment because I'm trying to, obviously got a lot to get done. What I got here, I got another clean rag, so I need to put the bearings in, put the top bearings in for the crank. So I've got my brake cleaner. I'm going to fill some brake cleaner into this bowl and then put the bearings into here, take them out, a little bit of a wipe on there, and then we can go put them in and get the crank in. Nothing to see here. Izzy, what you got? You got your teddy and your ball. Engine build with my dog. Lovely. Oh, need to put some brake cleaner in there first. what I'll do is, it's in between bearings. In between, boom! Stop it from evaporating. That'll do. Right, I'm just gonna, oh, I need another hand. So once I wipe it off, I'm gonna go outside and very carefully install it. Because what you need to get off is all of that protective oil that's on there, which isn't a lubricant. And you want to make sure on this side that there's no lubricant at all. Nice and dry. Last thing I want to do is put this in and spin a bearing straight away. Well, I think it goes in that way round. This towards me from the angle where I'm working from. Oh, the dove's got scared and flew away, and Pidgeotto. There we go. So it's roughly bottom dead centre. Apparently do that to bottom dead centre for when we kind of put the pistons in. Don't need to worry about that yet, because once I get these caps on, I'm going to rotate it anyway. So next job, let's go get the bottom shell bearings, give them a quick clean, whack them in, and then we can put the main caps on, bolt them down, torque them up. Right. Let's go get those caps. Right, so you might have noticed the crank's back out again. But what I did forget was to put in the thrust washers. So they have been, I have cleaned these up. I'm just going to put a little bit of lube on the inside just so they stick to the inside. And then I can refit the cylinder head. Refit the crankshaft. Sorry, I've got so much going on in my mind at the moment. Right, so we'll put a little bit. See, this isn't full lube. It doesn't need to spin. It's got to stay stationary. But I'm just putting it on like that, just so it stays there. It doesn't fall out. They need to stay there for a few seconds until I actually put the crank back in again. So that's the thrust washers that I forgot to put in. Okay, there's still plenty of oil in all of them. They're all nicely lubed up still. Just move that out of the way. Again, carefully refit the crank. There, are we in? I believe we are in. So those thrust washers are still in there. I don't know, you're not going to be able to see them at all, but they are in here, just making sure that they're nice and flat. Yeah, and the thrust washers on that main bearing. Right, so this is the cap for number 4, which also has the thrust washers on. So again, just plenty of lube on there. Everyone likes a bit of lube, but I'm just going to put a little bit on the side as well, just for this, just for it to stick. Because these thrust washers, they shouldn't spin because they're obviously notched in, so they only go on one way round, with these little recesses on the outside. So like that, happy days. And then we'll turn that over, number 4, and we'll fit that into number 4. Very carefully, just sliding it down over the top, and then I've got a couple of bolts in my pocket. Just want to find the point where the bolts go in loosely. So we know that's roughly square. Just tap that down squarely, and then what I've got to do now is go get my torque wrench and we'll torque these up. I can't remember the torque setting, but I'll find that out and I'll let you know. And it says 65 Newton meters or 48 pound-foot. Right, Haynes manual says to finger tighten everything, so they are all finger tight. And it says to work from the inside outwards. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of a turn, make sure they're all roughly the same tightness. Right, let's have a quick check. Yep. 4's good. 3's good. 5's good. 2's good. 6 is good. And 1 is good. Excellent. Result. Need to spin it over, get the pistons in, and get the big end bearings on. Then we can put the oil cap on, pickup pump, pickup pipe, blah blah blah. Right. Oh, let's go have a cup of tea. I'll make sure this spins. Right, so I've gone ahead. I've just been playing around with these Clark piston ring compressor. So I've got it on there. I've made sure all the rings, again like I said in my previous video, that the rings should also be at 100 and the gaps be at 120 degrees. So if you're looking, there should be one there, one here and one there, which there is. So and I've made sure on that. Put this ring clamp on. I've taken the bottom caps off for the big end bearing. And these are the oversized big end bearings. And then just going to put this big end bearing on now before I slide the piston into the cylinder. And again, just like the main bearings, these big end bearings, I'm making sure that are flush and the same either sides. So now we're going to go out and we're going to insert this into the bore, making sure we insert it the correct way round. Because obviously if you put it in wrong, the valves will hit on the piston because of the cutouts. And also, well, before you even get that far to assembling it, the oil jet is for this little knockout here, this little notch. So another way of knowing that you've got it in perfect. Then once we've got this in, I'll come back and I'll get the cap and I'll put another big end bearing on the cap, and then we'll do that in a second. So let's go out and get this in the engine. Right, so somehow I've got to try and slide this in without this beating the piston walls. I can't even get my hand up just a little bit, I don't think. Can I? Is there any way? I get my finger to there. Okay. There we go. Right. Now I just got to gently push this down. There we go. Excellent. Now I need to slide it down and get this. There we go. Just nipped up. Excellent. Now I need to rotate the cam and drop. You can see there the journal for the big ends at the top. I don't know how well you can see that. So I need to rotate it and take that journal down to the bottom. Well, so I just cleaned off one shell. And that's going to go on. What I need to do though is a bit of oil on here though. Lube up these piston rings, make sure they're all in the right place, and then we'll put the clamp on. Final checks, make sure that we've got 120 degrees between all the rings. Good job of checking, because those two, that one slipped around, so we need to move that around. So we'll put that one there, that one there. So we've got 1, 2, and there should be another one here. There we go. So we've got all at about 120 degrees. Lovely. Next thing I need to do is the old clamp and get the clamp in there. There we go. Put that over. Now, this is the bit that is nice and fun. Just checking the inside to see if it's fully compressed, but it hasn't. There's still a little bit of room there for compression. There we go. That looks good. Looks nice and oily. Let's go put this in the block. And also we're going to need this. So I've torqued everything's all torqued down now. The pistons, com rods, they've been torqued down to 30 newton meters, and then angle tighten stage 2, 90 degrees. So I've gone ahead, done all of that. Everything rotates like it should do. Happy days. So that's good. At least we know the engine's rotating. No knocks and bangs. Next job, oil pickup pump. So first of all we've got the gasket. And then a reconditioned oil pump. Right, so we were just looking through the Haynes manual and I read it out aloud to Harry. Didn't I, Harry? Do you remember?
Yeah.
And it said, what did it say? About a dog.
Yeah.
That line up the dog. Oh, what's it on about? Right, well, when you put the oil pump back on, it's these little like notches. Do you get that? You see that? You see? Little notches. And then bits, that's what they call the dog and bone. I don't know. So we'll put it on. Right, so just trying to see how much the crank needs to be turned. It needs to line up. So there we go, like that, perfect. And at this stage there's only 3 mounting bolts that go in. So you've got the 2 shorter ones that go here. And then the longer one goes in this one here. And then the rest of these are for the timing case cover, and then that one is for your tensioner. Right, I need to go check what the torques are for this, but I think they're only 20. So I'll go get that first and check it. Torque them up. Got a new seal to put on. We'll do that in a moment. Got a new gasket to go on. I'm not putting the cam seal on this end, on the back of the engine, not yet. For starters, I can't get it on with the bolts and while it's bolted up here. And I want to know exactly what bolts go in where, because this didn't have all the right bolts in it when I got it, so I'm going to just wait until I strip my engine off and then we can put that crank seal on. Okay, right, I'm going to go get the seal for this end. I'm going to go check the torque specifications, I'm going to get them torqued up, and then the pickup pipe. Progress is slow, it's been long, we've had delays. My cousin come round, we had to do some welding on his stand. I ran out of MIG wire, so that was a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, there's been plenty of delays, but we're getting on with it. I've just got to torque these 3 mounting bolts down. So these are to 10 Newton meters, the smaller ones, which the smaller ones are these 2, and this is the longer one. And the longer one's torqued to 20 Newton meters. So we'll torque these ones up quickly. That's 10. That's 10 Newton meters, both of them. That one's got to be 20 Newton meters. But rather than adjusting this right now, I'm going to go ahead and install the pickup pipe, because these are also 10 Newton meters. So while that's torque wrench is set up, and then we've got 2 different size bolts. And actually it's a good job that I filmed a lot of this progress, because I was able to go back through and watch the strip down I slowed it down, so there is actually, you know, if ever I'm doing a time lapse and you actually want to see what I'm actually doing, you can slow that time lapse down in the bottom right corner, I think it is. I think there's an option there. Oh, me talking away, I forgot. I want to put a tiny little bit of Loctite on these as well, just because these are only torqued up to 10, and I definitely don't want these coming loose and coming out into the engine. I don't know whether it's possible for them to come out and float around, but I'm not going to take that chance. So just a tiny bit of Loctite. Yeah, so like I was saying, you can go back and watch things slowed down, which made my life so much easier, because that's exactly what I done. I went back to the video where I stripped this down, and in the time lapse I was able to slow it down. And once it was slowed down, I could see exactly where I put these bolts on the metal tray, because I don't know if you remember, but this magnetic tray that I had was like around here somewhere. I was just taking things out and just chucking it up. So I was able to go back through that video and go, ah, okay, the short bolts go there and the long bolts go in the oil pickup pump. So yeah, the short pumps into the block, the short bolts into the block, and the longer bolts into the pump itself. So again, a little squeeze. I'm only putting, I don't, you can even see how much is on there, but only a tiny little bit. I never go over the top with Loctite. Oh, don't fit on there. I'm going to have to get the extension bar because it won't fit on there. Check these last quickly, check them again. Yep. Yep. And now we need to adjust it for that, which was 20 Newton meters. And that's it. The sump will have to go back on then. And the sump is going to be a bit of a pain because I need to go through all these bolts and the bolts already in that sump and pick out the good ones and the ones that aren't rounded off. So that should be fun, shouldn't it? We do like a rounded off bolt, and I think the sump bolts are only done up to 20 Newton meters. So again, 20 Newton meters, which isn't tight at all. Why is it still going in? Let's peek. Snap the bolt. End it. Right, well, I got the stud out that had snapped in there. Lucky enough, there was a huge bit that was stuck out and it didn't snap flush with the block. Otherwise, that was would have been a nightmare. That was so scary. That snapped, so I was just like, what? I mean, the torque is set up for 20, and it just kept going and then snapped. However, I'll just show you for demonstration purposes. For whatever reason, so I push that all the way down, I take a marker from there, and I measured that to how far was where it snapped, and it was, you know, I don't know how well you can see that, but it was about there. So that little gap there, there's still that much extra that the stud could have gone in, but it just snapped. So what I do is, I've got another bolt, exactly the same. It was up here, and it actually came off this block anyway. Yeah, it just gets to that point and it just goes rock hard. You're not going to do any more than that. I don't know why. I've checked inside, I've looked in with a light as well and checked it and blown it out, and there's no dirt in there. The thread's good, so I don't know why only a little bit's going in. Oh well, I'll just talk it up to 10 rather than talking it up to 20 and just hope that does it. If it doesn't, then that is going to be peak. Right, so let's go again. Well, it hasn't gone rock hard yet, so it's got to be a good thing, isn't it? We got what do I call this video then? This upload. I snapped a bolt rebuilding my engine. I can't. Oh, it's so terrible. I'm going to turn this down. I'm not doing it on 20. So I'm going to set it to 10, so that's 9, 10 there, 10 Newton meters. There we go, that's 10. 10. 10. That's it. I'm not doing it up to 20. I'm not snapping another bolt in there. It's blowing a hoolie out there today. Right. I was just looking at the bolts. I've got the bolts there ready to go. Pickup pipe to go on. Excellent. And again, just still give it a bit of a tiny bit. Come on, come on, come on. Look, it's getting late now. We need to get this finished. Just get this in, and then I have to call it a night, unfortunately, because it's getting late, and we've been on it all day. I haven't even stopped. Well, we stopped for a cup of tea, but my cousin got some donuts. So stopped for a, well, you stopped for a donut, didn't you, and a cup of tea? I stopped for a cup of tea, but didn't have the donut. Although speaking of donuts, I'm a bit of a donut for doing that, aren't I? Here's another donut. Do not do that. I picked up the wrong bolt. I picked up the snapped off fucking bolt. Oh my gosh. I think it shows I need food. I need food. We need to stop. We need to get these arse bolts in. Just rest the sump over it. And then we'll go get something to eat. This will go straight in now. Told you. Donut. Do that. Right, it's a new day. Excellent. So, I haven't put the sump on yet. I put it on, I had it upside down last night and I temporarily put the sump on, but I'm just going through at the moment, cleaning up the bolts. But everything's lovely. It's not leaving any marks in the piston. There's no, in the bores of the cylinder. Everything's looking good. plenty of oil on there still at the moment. But the weird thing is, it turns a lot harder than the motor I got in the van. Maybe it's because the rings are so much tighter now. It's like it's brand new. So that should have plenty of compression. That's good. Happy days. I am putting clean rags over the top at the moment as well. Just while I go through soaking these in some brake fluid, brake cleaner, sorry. And then I'm also going through, I mean that one doesn't look too bad, but the root, well, it's a little bit worn. I'm going through, getting all the best ones out, all the knackered ones, not even going to bother looking at. But yeah, I'm just going through, cleaning them up. Got the old scraper, little just to get in. Oh, it's everything's so dark. Don't roll away from me. Just so I can get that into there. Scrape all that dirt out, and then clean it off with a wire brush, and then straight in. So I'm going to leave it for now because I need to get loads of stuff done. I need to get this edited. I've still got more of these to go through because I've still got quite a few to figure out, because I need quite a few. Yeah, I need quite a few. A long thing. And there's all the knackered ones that I'm not bothering with, as you can see. Awesome. Right, I will keep you updated, but for now, that is the block assembled.